I'm trying to help you, Dave.
Could blow the thing up.
Previously on the $10,000 drag shootout, 4 teams came to California to build a drag car in 10 days for just 10 grand. The returning champions, Team Bigun, is back and built a Granada station wagon with a big block Chevy on nitrous. The Comp Cam's Dream Team built a Turbo LS Mustang. Midwest Mayhem kept it simple with a stock bottom-end Turbo LS Cutlass. And Enemies Everywhere struggled with their LS-powered 4th-gen Camaro. On the dyno, it was neck and neck with Team Bigun coming out on top with almost 1,000 horsepower to the rear wheels, with the Dream Team not far behind. It all comes down to the final race in Georgia.
A transport trailer shut down the I-10 in Las Cruces, New Mexico today due to a fire that consumed multiple vehicles.
We have news that the vehicles involved in the fire in New Mexico
were in fact race cars.
Interstate 10 has been closed for hours today after
multiple vehicles.
We are getting reports of a fire. The vehicles involved in the fire in New Mexico were from the television show Horsepower Wars.
All right, so there's some really big stuff going on. The builds are done and the cars were being transported. I'm just watching it on the news right now. On my laptop you can see it, but basically there's a big fire. I don't, you can see it, the Granada, the front of the Granada is smoked. I can see the Mustang underneath. It doesn't look good. This is bad. I don't know what we're gonna do. Yeah, I was calling to see if you'd seen it. Okay, so I mean, we got 3 cars that are on fire. I mean, what's the plan? What do you need me to do?
I mean, obviously we're kind of like scramble mode right now. Kind of cluster.
Hey. Freaking nightmare. Right now, the biggest thing is to try and stay focused, stay positive, talk with the teams, and get a game plan. We don't know the extent of the damage, so we got to get back to the tech center and talk this through, because
there's no way we're going to be able to get the cars done for the race, so at this point, the race is canceled.
What would you do if I gave you $10,000 to build the quickest drag car possible in only 10 days? 4 teams, 1 race, 1 winner.
We don't do anything good, we just kind of do everything half-assed. This is the first thing he's done all week.
I want a beer.
I told you I was right. I don't think I hit the right button.
The experience of last year has helped me look at things from a little bit different perspective.
there is so much shit happening right now.
I did it, the car was sliding, so then I backed off.
That's pretty stout.
It made 11 horsepower.
We're not here for a long time. We're only here for a good time.
My initial reaction to the fires and the cars was really mainly devastation. It was really tough. I know that my personal self, I was not involved with actually building the cars, but seeing something progress from, you know, these piece of junk cars that aren't worth a nickel to most people, building into actual race cars, and they're on the way to the race, and then
I'm here in New Mexico to go look at the cars to be sure they're unloaded off the burnt carrier. I interjected myself maybe a little much into being sure everything gets fixed not only with our car but with the other team's cars. Actually, there they are. Let's see. Midwest looks okay. Holy shit. Yeah. Our car's
Post-fire, we got the cars back to California to Horsepower Wars, and the teams were all invited out to take a look and assess the damage or what it was going to take to rebuild these and get them ready to race in Georgia again.
The entire Dream Team came out to California to see their Mustang, but it's looking pretty bleak.
What would you do with $10,000? Not build this much.
I've had a plan on what we're going to do for this for about 3 weeks now, so it really didn't matter what it looked like to me. I already have an idea what we're going to do to this car.
Everything was melted, so all the plastic that was on like the dash or the trim, the doors, was all melted down into the bottom of the car. They literally had to chisel all that out. And it was pretty bad. It definitely seen a ton of heat.
It's life. This happens, man. It's reality.
I tear cars down like this all the time. The only difference, got some charcoal and some dirt in it. This is how you build them. You strip them down to nothing.
I'm going to cut out sections of the floor. We don't really trust some of the steel structure of the car after being through such extreme heat. So what we're going to do is some tubular frame rails of the car and make a complete cage out of it, similar to a chassis car. Keith is really concerned about safety, especially with the structure of the car after the heat. So we're going to do a chromoly cage. We're going to add a bunch of bars to it. We're going to make sure that no matter what happens, the car itself is structurally sound and safe.
Jamie Farmer from Enemies Everywhere flew back from Australia to see how much damage was done to their 4th Gen Camaro.
We had a little bit of damage on the back of our car, but it was very, very minor. 5 minutes down the road, it was an identical car to ours, so we just went and bought it and drove it back. So I just lit the tyres up out the front. We did it a bit more Australian style, considering the confinement I had.
It is like it never happened.
Pretty cool.
Moment of truth.
This is good.
Hey!
Oh, look at that.
That's not good.
No.
It's water.
Oh, here comes some oil. Worst case could be
the heads are bad.
Not good.
Water is not what you want to see coming out of an oil pan. Hopefully some of the internals are salvageable, but no one will know how bad the damage is until the engine is torn down completely.
To be honest with you, I don't trust anything in our engine because there was so much heat there.
We obviously got some issues.
Back when I was racing, if we would have had a fracture of what we see there, it would have been a full motor rebuild, like complete rebuild. It's a disaster. At some point, even though like your heart and your ego says we can make this happen, at some point you have to say no.
Jesse's already said he will work on this pile of shit until it's shiny again.
No.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not saying ends justify the means. Are we? I know you can make this car a great car, Jesse. I'm not saying
even if we started with another car, you still buying the exact same parts and replacing the exact same shit. The tear down.
I'm all in until I got here. Like I seen the car before, but
because we don't have a different car here right now. It took.
You're crazy.
It took.
I think you're crazy.
It took 6 of us.
I don't know, the whole thing, with with the cars burning and with Joe's passing, I don't know where I'm at on this deal. I don't. I don't know, when somebody, especially Joe, just 27's too young. When I raced, my family was Stop filming for a minute, please. I stopped racing because and my wife and my kids' eyes, they had fear. What I loved to do scared them, and you know, they was afraid what could happen to me is what happened to Joe. That's why I quit.
So what are you doing?
I don't know. I don't think I can race.
All the hard work and stuff you put into it, and see it on fire is not a pleasant sight.
What are the chances that all these cars burn up on a ride across the country?
It's the hand we were dealt, and we're here to go back and fix it up and go kick some ass with it. It got really hot. We think the carbon scoop acted as a chimney, so all the fire was directly below, and it just kind of came up through the carburetor and out the carbon scoop. So it actually wrinkled the valve cover pretty bad. So that told us that we had, a good bit of heat between 1,000 and 1,300 degrees to melt aluminum like that, and it just sagged it down a good 3/4 of an inch.
Pete and Eric aren't wasting any time tearing down the Granada. It may be burned, but the car is 100% salvageable.
As far as the engine goes, the short block, a lot of it we can just take it apart, clean it up, put it back together. The cylinder heads, the springs look like they've been really hot. The rockers, I'm sure, have been really hot. The valve covers are junk. We hardness tested the heads, and I think they're going to be fine, which is good because that's where all the labor was at. The intake will probably be fine. The nitro system is garbage, the carburetor's garbage, fuel system's garbage. Most everything from the firewall forward has suffered pretty heavy damage.
There's no doubt the wagon needs some serious work, but it's nothing these guys can't handle.
Me and Pete were looking at it, and obviously wanted to preserve some of the burn up sheet metals, and did a quick flame job over top of it. Everything's in flat clear, so it shouldn't rust or should go any further into corrosion from where it was at. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. I think it'll be a good comeback story with the flame job on the front end. So yeah, more character.
Upon completion of those assessments, we took a look at what they said it was going to take to rebuild their car, both in time and effort. Dream Team was forwarded 6 days worth of rebuild time to rebuild and reconstruct their car back to a pre-fire condition. Bigun, upon their assessment, their build time was 4 days. We had looked at what the estimated cost was going to be to rebuild these based on the original parts sheet and spreadsheet that they used to build the cars with. And we assessed that Dream Team's was nearly a complete total loss, and their rebuild budget from Summit was $7,000. Bigun's, their rebuild budget was $3,000. Horsepower Wars rules from original builds still applied throughout the rebuild process, and our intention is that if we did this right, by the time Bigun shows up on property, the hours left to get the cars done and back on the dyno or ready to go race, they'll be almost neck and neck.
Jesse Adams from the Dream Team was allowed to take the Mustang to his personal shop to repair the chassis and body damage.
It was so disheartening seeing it like that. You know, we put a lot of time and effort into it, and you know, we put a lot of blood in that car for the 10 days, and as soon as I saw the car again, I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this.
Everyone sacrificed to redo this build. Jesse was working on it over Christmas vacation for 3 weeks.
Body back, seat in.
Lyle's
Nice work, Jesse.
very nice. Yeah, it's a race car now.
Hey, did my shifter burn up?
What do you think, Mr. Lonnie? Illegal?
Jesse's the man. Jesse is the man. Not bad, bro. Not bad at all.
Day one of the rebuild of the $10,000 drag shootout cars, and I am stoked and ready to make some horsepower.
Everything needs to be done. I think today will be slow because the parts aren't all out, but that's the big thing, inventorying what we have to make sure we can order stuff to get through the weekend.
So Dave, it looks like you are on Summit's side. Did you forget something?
Yeah, so we forgot when we had some problems with our block. The head studs changed, and we didn't realize it till Friday afternoon, very late. So went on Summit's website, typed in the part number we needed from ARP, had it Saturday delivered. It was a good price, so it worked out.
Well, on top of that too, since the cars were in the fire and we lost a lot of parts, everything needs to be rebuilt. They're covering everything. Like, they're giving you a whole new budget, and that's huge.
Yeah, they really took care of us. The car was a total loss, so pretty much our entire budget from Summit was respent, and they came through in flying colors.
Cool. Alrighty, well, get them ordered and get them on the way, and they'll be here tomorrow and put the engine together.
Yeah, we'll get that thing running.
There's no parts that are going back on this car that are not either being reevaluated, re-inspected. There's nothing taken for granted. Even the new parts that they reordered from Summit for replacements are all getting rechecked and rechecked in. And anything used that they need to put back on the car and purchase is going to have to go back through its same valuation and inspection process. If they had some stock bearings in it, then our intention would not be able to put a performance bearing back in it. So we'll go back through the notes and everything, all the information we had before, and just verify that what they are putting back together is what they had before. So one of the things the teams did not realize is that we put a special stamp and serial number on key components. Well, the torque converter that I showed back up for Dream Team does not have any indication of any stampings or those serial numbers that were placed on the torque converter originally.
But I had nothing to do with it. They just sent a converter, and someone sent one back for us.
How much is shady and how much not? If you're gonna cheat a little bit, why not cheat a lot, I guess? But I don't feel we cheated at all.
We're tech approved, so it is what it is.
And I know there's gonna be some people say, oh, there's the spirit of the rules. I don't really care about the spirit of the rules. I just like the way the rules are written, and then we're gonna take advantage of it. Well, whether it was right or wrong, if you guys would have read the rules on everything we did, I think you can see that you just didn't write the rules good enough.
In the back of your mind, as the rules guy or the compliance guy, I'm not trusting of a lot of people, especially when it comes to rules and racing, but I usually trust them for a minute until you break that trust.
So the doors open on the shop at 8 a.m. every single day so the team can get here and work on their car. There's still a lot of stuff that needs finished. I don't know if they're underestimating how much work is left on the car, but it's past 9:30 and they're still not here.
Dream Team is a team that's not usually on time, especially when it's morning time. Every time as we get towards 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whatever the end of the day is supposed to be, they always need another 30 minutes. You know, here's a good time to give back a little bit of what they give us. So nonetheless, we took their brand new LS camshaft that they ordered. We unpackaged it. We managed to find a V6 flat tappet camshaft and repackaged it where it looked like that's what it was in the box, and we laid it out there. Dream Team, this is for you and the bullshit that you caused.
We have never showed up on time. The Dream Team has never been on time. It's kind of a calling card. Like when it's like 8:15, somewhere right in there, I'm like, yeah, I guess we gotta leave.
Again, Dream Team's a little late arriving to work, but looks like that they got the ball rolling now. We need this thing to make a big move today to be ready for Bigun to show up tomorrow. And those guys, it'll be a little bit of a head-to-head competition through the weekend to see who can get their stuff back together and get on the dyno and be ready to go race.
This feels like a race car. He's been egging me on to get inside of this car.
Yes, this 25.3 cage goes a little bit beyond what the budget says. However, we had to exchange a little bit of that for the fact that production made us build a burned up car. All of the
I have no argument there.
Sheet metal, crumple zones, everything that's manufactured and designed into these cars to help in the event of a crash was potentially lost when all the sheet metal saw 1200 degree, maybe more. Yes, the chassis goes a little above and beyond what you would think you'd see in a $10,000 build.
It goes a lot above and beyond, but right. I mean, the heat that's all the factory, unibody frame rails, it was fairly extreme, but I mean...
Foot box forward, bone stock. Main hoop back, exact same build as what we had originally. All of the improvements were done in the driver's compartment specifically to protect our driver.
And that's, I mean, we all know that safety is paramount above everything, and I do have to say, this is a race car.
It's pretty bitchin'.
It's a race car. It's totally a race car.
They were looking around, located the camshaft, pulled it up. Dave was on the phone. He was multitasking, so he opened it up, looked at the cam card, grabbed the camshaft out of the package. He's on the phone. He's got the camshaft in his hand, floating it around. Finally hangs up with a phone call, looks at this package and notices that's probably not what I ordered.
I picked it up knowing that it wasn't the right weight for an LS camshaft, and then looking in it, I was seeing it was a cast camshaft. But yeah, pretty fun. I'm thinking, I wonder who's trying to do this.
Who swapped the cam? Anybody?
Well, they put, it's not the right camshaft?
I'll just call on the phone in front of these guys, telling them I'm ordering a new one, and they'll bring the old one out and won't let me wait for it. So that was kind of my process.
I'm getting ready to hit the send.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Dave.
With the first 2 days of the rebuilds ending, it was time for Team Bigun to get to work and rebuild their wagon. Both teams still have a lot of work ahead of them.
I like all the Team Bigun guys, even Chad.
Yeah, we had a good idea of where we needed to start. Bigun and Pete came a couple months ago, got an idea of what needed to be done. We've been rounding up parts like everybody else, but for us, as opposed to what the Dream Team's dealing with, we're really just replacing old parts with new parts, burnt parts, and freshening up the motor, and really just starting from the midway point of the original build.
We knew we had a couple cylinders that were questionable, so that was the main priority. Pete, get it tore down.
The structural integrity of the rod, I'm afraid, has been compromised. So we should probably 25-3 it.
You know, like the Dream Team got to 25-3 everything, so we should.
Don, did you weld that cage in?
They got to keep the same car. Would I have wanted to do that? No. Would I have justified keeping it by saying I want to put a 25-3 serted cage in it? Yeah, and that's what they got to do. Do I think that was fair? Absolutely not.
is this car still safe the way it was? With the amount of heat that was there, absolutely any piece of plastic, aluminum, or anything pretty much melted off this car. And what we allowed them to do was put some additional structure that is more than they were on the original build.
Is it a performance advantage? If you know how to use it, yes. One, it makes the chassis more rigid, more dependent on your suspension tune-up. For us, if we could get a completely rigid chassis that was 25-3 started, we could go faster than we could go as we sit.
During the original build, if this cage was something they wanted to do, it wasn't against the rules. There would have been no time to be able to do that originally. They also added weight by adding this additional structure to the car. Did they improve the car at the end of the day? No, probably not by performances, but safety-wise, for sure.
But I know I would like to have a 25-3 in that wagon out there.
After tearing their big block all the way down, Pete found something in the block that wasn't ideal.
Obviously, when they put the fire out, it filled the motor up with water, and whichever slugs were down in the hole held water for however long, you know, and it etched into the cylinder wall there, kind of made an indention in it. Pete wasn't real comfortable. We got a dingleberry hone, as they call it, and ran it through there with a drill a couple times.
Good enough. You are a beer-powered Sun MCK10, my friend.
Played around with the dingleberry hone just to try to get that out, and that didn't do anything. But they can't mess with it till the morning.
So we took it down to the machine shop, gonna let them bump the hone in it real quick. Realistically, we would have liked to have gotten the short block back together so we could set it in the car, get the transmission bolted back up and kind of get ahead of the game there, but as opposed to putting the short block in, we'll just stick the long block in it. This thing magically falls out of the back of the van while we're going to the machine shop because we left the back open and asked for it. Maybe we should get the block that we really want.
Wait, but can we put the crankshaft back in it so the billet one can go in there?
We'll drag the rods down like a just married man.
Yeah.
That's right.
I can't get anything done in here. It is too gosh dang loud.
We're gonna unveil our new moonshine missile decal. Shout across right here.
Bam!
Thought about the Wile E. Coyote, you're riding a rocket or a missile, and going that range and whatnot, and then with everything happening, with the missiles and Trump and Iran and all this and that, they put the Trump head above the moonshine missile with a rocket. So it's got Trump with his hair and a red tie behind the moonshine missile. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, she's good.
We lost support of exactly 5 drag racers in the world.
It doesn't get much more American than that.
Moving right along, we should be hopefully have the short block done today. Got to work on the cylinder head yet, but other than that, it's coming along good.
The Dream Team is working to get their engine together with the new parts they ordered from Summit. Team Bigun is just now getting their engine back from the machine shop.
So we took it to the local machine shop here and honed a couple thousandths out. It's still really about like it was. It's just got some pretty deep rust pits, so it kind of is what it is at this point.
But now that you have the block, are you guys just going to assemble it the way it is and just hope for the best?
We really have no choice. It's either that or nothing. So we're just going to have to go with it and hope it works out okay. That's all we can do.
Yeah, and it sucks. I mean, the fire did a lot of damage, and it looks like, the block suffered.
With a nitrous motor, oil contamination is a thing to be avoided at all costs, and this could possibly lead to some of that. And it could blow the thing up. There's no other ways of putting this. So.
Team Bigun is focusing on their big block Chevy and getting it assembled as soon as possible. They only have 3 days to build the rest of the car. On the other side of the shop, the Dream Team is spread thin, working on multiple areas on the Mustang.
I think they see the missile coming together, and that's why they're getting scrambled. You know, they know what this bad boy did on the first time.
We got to keep up the race a little bit, if you know what I'm saying.
God damn, that took a long time. You were stressing me out. Good.
You have a stock engine that runs at 7,000 RPM, and you have a camshaft that works from 3,000 or 4,000 RPM to 7,000 RPM. You want a torque converter to enhance that. And TCI has experts in torque converters, so if you give them your combination and you have an engine that runs to 8,500 RPM and you're looking to find some torque converter that's 6,500 stall speed, we can make that happen.
If you're wiring a car, whether it's a hot rod or a race car, the truth is that it's a week-long job. Like, if you're gonna do it right, it's a week-long job or longer. We don't have that kind of time.
Luckily, we got speed wire to kick in for an 8-switch panel, 8 relay panel. That should make the wiring pretty easy for us.
So you gotta do it as nice as you can in just a few hours and see if you can make something that's dependable, because that's really the most important part.
The teams only have 2 days left to get their cars finished and ready for the race in Georgia. And there's a lot of things left to do on both cars.
Well, it looks like we got parts showed up from Summit, so we're good there. Working on battery system, brake line system right now. Once those are buttoned up, we'll get the seat in, finish mounting our weight boxes. But as soon as the brake system's done, then the engine can go back in when they're ready. I mean, there's a lot to do, but we've got the time to do it. I think we're gonna be in great shape come tonight.
It's like snail shit on a gravel road over there, just molasses in the wintertime. Look at them. They need a torch under that ass over there. Keith, you're gonna have to implement a little pace over there. Y'all are stressing me out. We're gonna be doing burnouts by 5:30. I just don't think you'll see another team come in and do this as dominating as we have been.
One of my favorite parts about Bigun's Granada was the hood scoop. Now in the fire, obviously, it was severely damaged. I love the way it looked. It made the car just so unique and cool, and the fact that it's gonna induct air perfectly into their carburetor is awesome. But in the fire, it got damaged, and K&N was cool enough to send them a whole nother carbon fiber Pro Stock style hood scoop. And with the flames and the rust and everything on the hood along with the front end, I think it's gonna look better than ever.
That's what made the missile the missile.
We've done a lot more winning than we have losing, that's for sure, and that's not something that most of the other teams can say.
Well, the deal is the first team to fire gets first dibs on dyno time. You can defer, you can go sit on it, you can do whatever you want, but they are scrambling over there to be the first to fire. We've got about, I don't know, 10 to 20 minutes worth of work left, and we're just gonna fill the carburetor up with brake clean and fire it up so we can be first.
Bam!
Our sole goal was to fire the motor first, and the Dream Team is not even close.
Everybody thinks the Dream Team is the one with the disadvantage because we don't know each other. But through all this, we've been able to come together better than ever because we've been through the high of finishing the car and the lows of the cars burning. We're all on board. We all stuck it out.
We had no idea about these personalities and everything, and who knows, it could have been a disaster, but I think we did sort of pull it together.
I think the other teams need to be worried about that a lot.
We felt confident we were going to let Chad finish the wiring and it was going to bust off car was gonna run. Well, in normal fashion, that's not the way it goes. New car blues, rebuilt car blues, it's all the same.
Okay, they're getting ready to start the car.
You know, when you go to fire this thing up for the first time, you think you remember how you had everything set up, and you're not sure because it's now been months since we ordered parts and put this thing together. All the while I'm going, okay, I just got to make sure my wiring is good, right? As long as that isn't the problem, then we're all right.
Hit the button for the fuel pump, it's pissing fuel everywhere.
It's not going well.
Man, I don't know. I've always been a superstitious person. One thing that the Moonshine Missile and I have in common is at one time I was the hottest man, and that was one of the hottest cars in drag racing, you know. And it's been tough to get back motivated to finish the deal. I was just ready to put it aside because it has just been nothing but low blows for 2 months now. Sucks though, because we were ready to fire this thing up. Now we got to pull the fuel pump apart, and there's, I mean, always the chance that it's something we're not going to be able to fix until we get to Georgia or something.
We're down to the final day of the rebuilds, and 8 hours is not a lot of time to get these cars together and ready for the race.
You know, we made big power with this car. We knew it ran really good. So we were confident that this thing should run the same. I mean, it does have some damage from the fire, and that's going to be a challenge as we move forward, but still the engine, at least without nitrous, should run okay. So one thing that people may not understand about this whole fire fiasco is that it burned up not only new parts, but used parts we had bought with our cash budget. One of those things was our old fuel pump, and so it died. So we had to bring in another old fuel pump. Start looking at it, it's the seal on the bottom, which isn't uncommon on these style of electric fuel pumps, no matter what the manufacturer is. This thing's pretty old.
The fuel pump is making noise.
So we stacked a grommet on top of the seal and push down on the seal more. It seems to work, so, for now.
Car just doesn't sound good, like it's just not running well. Progressively, the starter started sounding worse and worse, and sounds like it's grinding titanium chips. Get up under it, I hit the starter button. Off the ground, the thing sounds twice as bad. We pull the starter off, it's broken a tooth off of it. Or we get another starter, we put that on. And finally, I hit the starter, I turn the ignition on, and I hit the fuel pump, and everything works in unison, and we have a nice running race car. The plan the whole time coming out here was to not get on the dyno. We learned what we needed to learn when we were here the first time. If we do strap it down, it'll just be to run it through the gears. But instead, I think we're going to go out here and break in, scuff the old 275.
I would call that a pretty good success. I'm gonna line up right behind. Oh man! Ooh, dude, yeah! Wow, alrighty. Bigun has done the burnout. The Granada is pretty much done. It looks like the Dream Team is getting ready to fire the crispy critter. All right, Gio, so you guys are getting ready to fire the car. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. How are you setting up the base map, and what are the different options that Holley give you to kind of get everything set up and dialed in smooth the first time?
So the nice thing about Holley is that it actually provides several base maps for you. We're going to start off with an LS 5.3. Right off the bat, we'll switch over to a 3-bar GM map sensor.
I know that you had some pretty interesting names for the tunes that you had set up for this car.
Really want to get crazy over there.
Make Bigun look as slow as they are. Scooby Snack?
Hey, your imagination is pretty much as far as you can go.
I'm stoked, man. It's been a long week, so I want to hear this thing run. These guys all kicked ass, so just hope everything goes good now.
The Dream Team is running out of time to fire their Mustang. If they can't fix this now, the race in Georgia will be in jeopardy.
It's new car gremlins. We're still not 100% there.
Struggled a little bit. They got the car to fire up, but now there's a very loud, audible grinding noise.
It sounds like the transmission is coming apart.
Something was grinding. You know, there was metal on metal like what it shouldn't have been.
We're quitting. You ready to quit?
And Keith was like, hey man, would you guys be willing to help us? And of course we said yes.
Unhook the cable completely and make sure it is in true park. That thing, the shifter and the cable could be holding it out of park. Unhook it and put it in true park.
I mean, let's just go home. I'm just flying home. Get this pile of shit wherever it's got to go, and we'll see what happens then.
He's just like all of us, man. He's wore out, dude. We all want to go home.
You assholes can't stop because we're not going to let you go, oh, we would have beat you if our shit would have kept running, you. So you get off your asses, fix this.
We quit. We're done. You guys can have the competition. You know, we're quit. We're going home. We'll sell the car.
See if it's got gears.
That's fine.
Then you will eliminate the fact that
I'm not sure why everyone's getting so excited about everything. We're just working on it.
You was the first one to get excited about wanting to quit. And then
I just said if we're not going to pull the trans, let's quit.
Starts mouthing off.
So Lyle diagnosed the transmission right, Lyle. We know you did that. It's all good. If you want to help us fix it, f***ing fix it. I'm not fixing it. Let someone else work on the trans.
That said to take the shifter out of the equation to see if it was f***ed up. I did. That's exactly right. So don't be a f***ing I'm trying to f***ing help you, Dave. F*** you, motherfucker. I'm trying to f***ing help you.
Off, you little asshole.
I'm trying to f***ing help you.
Yeah.
You are an opposing team, and you're f***ing
diagnosed. And I never said jack shit to you.
I should not be helping you, and we're over here trying to help you, all of us.
What did I say to you?
What didn't you say to anybody in this f***ing shop?
What did I say to you?
That you were ready to f***ing quit. Whoa, Chad, you fall, yeah, yeah, Chad, oh yeah, yeah, Chad. We're trying to f***ing help you.
If you want to stand here in the peanut gallery and around, stand around. Or f***ing get in and help us.
Stand in the peanut gallery and help you, or stand here and
around. We don't need your f***ing help. But if you want to help,
10-4,
help.
bitch.
Fine, dude. Be a bitch.
On the final episode of the $10,000 drag shootout.
Let's figure it out, let's fix it, and I never quit.
It's not going to be an easy deal.
I don't care if it's first round of eliminations or it's final round. I won't race him.
As long as this show continues, I don't think you'll ever see a team as dominating as we were.
A special thank you to the sponsors that made it possible to bring these cars back from the ashes.